right! Yay! History and Games is finally live. Welcome everyone, and thank you for your patience. This is my latest episode of History and Games. Of course, I'm your hostess, Megan Sullivan, and we're playing Apotheon for PlayStation 4, developed by Alien Trap. Now, I have a confession to make. This wasn't what I was going to play tonight. I was going to surprise you guys with Rise, Son of Rome for Xbox One. But this is the second or third time I've had issues with the game, not because the game is broken, but because my Xbox always has some unexpected update it wants to do, and these Xbox updates are somewhat time-consuming. So then I was going to play Apotheon at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time tonight, and then PlayStation Network pulled the same card on me where it was like, hey, you need to update your system. So I was like, fine, I'll delay this for an hour. Can you guys hear me? It feels very quiet in my headphones right now, so I am not sure if there's anything going on. I'm about a minute into this. Oh, there I am. Sorry, hold on. Hilariously, I have this going on in the background. I don't want to hear an advertisement on Twitch. Okay, here we go. So I hope that I'm loud enough. I hope I'm not too loud, but it's very quiet in my headphones right now. So if you guys can't hear me, let me know and I will adjust the sound. American Rifle, again with Apotheon. Well, like I was saying before, this was my original plan, Rise, Son of Rome. And Xbox wanted to do yet another time-consuming update. So, to prove that I was going to play Rise, Son of Rome for you, I armed myself with many books on ancient Rome, and I wanted to share them with you guys, because if you can't watch me play a game about Rome, I hope you will go out and read about Rome. So this huge book called Caesar and Christ, it's the study of civilizations by Will Durant. It's one of many interesting history books, and this one's all about Rome. I have another quote-unquote general book on Rome, more like a tome, am I right? So this is a third edition of History of Rome. Can you guys see this? It's a little hard to see, I know. I'm not in the best place to do these Twitch casts. My room's kind of big, and the ceilings are kind of high, so the sound bounces, and there's a glare right now, and so I apologize for that. But this book is really cool. Look how huge it is. It's all about Rome. So it's supposed to be a basic history of Rome, but as you know, there's no basic history of ancient anything, because these civilizations went on and on and on. They were so rich and so full of history. Here's a bust of Julius Caesar. This is in the Vatican Museum. Check that out. That's pretty cool. What else do I have in ancient Rome that I was going to share with you before I was so rudely interrupted by an Xbox update? Ooh, here's another big book. This is on Marcus Aurelius. This is by Frank McLynn, and I apologize, my Latin is not very well pronounced. This is another book if you're interested in ancient Greece. Look how big this book is. This is amazing. Check that out. I know that this kind of book is really intimidating to people. I gotta tell you, the more granular the detail in history, the more I love it. So this one is all about one of the great figures of antiquity, whose life and words still speak to us today, nearly 2,000 years after his death. His Meditations remains one of the most widely read books from the classical world, and his life represents the fulfillment of Plato's famous dictum that mankind will prosper only when philosophers rule. Isn't that cool? Some of you are saying you've been to Rome, and I gotta tell you, I'm so jealous of you. I've been to Greece, I've been to Athens, I've been to Delphi, I've been to Olympia, etc., etc., but one of my bucket list items is to go to Rome and just bask in the glorious history. So you guys are so lucky. Do share with your fellow Twitchcast viewers all about your experiences going to historical places, including Rome and Italy and anywhere around the Roman Empire. I have a wonderful book on Caesar Augustus, who was the first true Roman emperor, so you would know him as Octavius. He was I believe the nephew or great-nephew of Julius Caesar. He was also his heir, and he fought famously with Mark Antony and Cleopatra. So this is a book on his life as well. So if you were interested in reading all about ancient Rome and the very first true emperor of the Roman Empire, this is a good book. This is by Anthony Everett, and he's a very well-known author to historians. Let's see, what else do I have? I think I had one more book. I know I had a book on Julius Caesar, because you can't talk about Rome and not have the Caesar, right? Am I right? So this is by Philip Freeman, and it's just called Julius Caesar. I think this is a slightly older book, but there you go. Check that out. It's very cool. It's very cool. And it's not quite as dense as some of the other books I was showing you. It's mostly text, but it's got some cool pictures. Look at these pictures. It's amazing. I think that's super cool. So, anyways, where was I going with this rant? Oh, yes. I was going to talk all about Rome, and I had to change my plans because Xbox is still updating my Xbox Live account. But what I did think would be really fun is while I'm playing Apollyon, I promise I'll get to that in a minute, but I thought that it would be cool to talk about Greco-Roman history, because it is a little bit tied together. The ancient Greeks had many different colonies in Sicily and Rome, or not Rome specifically, but Italy, and one of the things that connects them is the Aeneid by the poet Virgil. This is a wonderful translation. I love this author. I actually have his translations on the Iliad and the Odyssey. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, and I apologize if I'm not. It's Robert Fagles. It's either Fagles or Fagles. And they're very competent, beautiful translations of ancient text. And the Aeneid is all about the founding of Rome. So if you know your Roman history, you know that there were twins, Romulus and Remus, and they were suckled by a she-wolf, and Rome was founded after, or was named after Romulus, because the twins got into a fight, and there's slightly different versions of what happened, but basically let's just leave it at Romulus won that fight, and Rome started under him, but he was the descendant of Prince Aeneas of Troy. And so the Romans felt like the ancient Greeks, and that heritage was very important to them, although Aeneas, of course, was a Trojan prince, not a Greek prince specifically, although he did have ties to Aphrodite, because he was the son of Aphrodite. In fact, I have the Iliad right here. Homer's The Iliad. This is written about the 8th century BCE, and it recounts the fall of Troy, which supposedly happened 400 or 500 years even before Homer wrote his famous poem. And it's all about, so the part I'm going to read for you right now is from Book 2, and it talks about the noble son of Anchises led the Dardanians, Aeneas, whom the radiant Aphrodite bore Anchises down the folds of Ida, a goddess bedded with a man. Not Aeneas alone, but flanked Antenor's 2 sons, Acamas and Archelochus, trained for every foray. So we have in the Iliad a Trojan prince who has a connection to the goddess Aphrodite, always a good thing. And later on in the book, he'll do things like he'll try to rally the Trojans, he'll try to rally Hector. But of course, the Trojans lose once the Trojan horse, thought up by Odysseus, gets into the city and Troy is sacked. Well, the Aeneid takes place right after these events, and it's all about Prince Aeneas and how he escapes from Troy and goes on to Italy, and his descendants then found Rome. So just for fun, I wanted to read the first paragraph of the Aeneid because it's beautiful and it's poetic, and again, it ties together Rome and Greece. So it starts, "War's a demand I sing, an exile driven on by fate. He was the first to flee the coast of Troy, destined to reach Lavinian shores and Italian soil. Yet many blows he took on land and sea from the gods above, thanks to cruel Juno's relentless rage. Many losses he bore in battle too, before he found a city. Bring his gods to Latium, source of the Latin race, the Alban lords and the high walls of Rome. Tell me, Muse, how it all began. Why was Juno outraged? What wound could the queen of the gods with all her power? Why did she force a man so famous for his devotion to brave such rounds of hardship, bear such trials? Can such rage inflame the immortals' hearts? And there begins the Aeneid. And if you haven't read the Aeneid, if you didn't read it in high school or college, I strongly suggest you do. It's a wonderful poem, it's a wonderful, wonderful story, and it tells you a lot about Western civilization. Reading these kind of things seems, when you're in college or in high school, it seems very boring, it seems very pointless, but it says a lot about Western civilization and people's beliefs. So I thought that would be really fun to share with you. So we're going to hop into Apotheon, finally. Time your attacks carefully. Mashing buttons will leave you vulnerable. Oh, but mashing buttons is fun. So when last we played Apotheon, for whatever reason, I was just terrible and couldn't get past Apollo's guards. And that was my fault because I'm terrible at multitasking. When I played this game, when I reviewed it for IGN, I didn't have any problems playing against Apollo's guards, but for some reason, a couple of nights ago, I just couldn't do it. So I decided that we were going to regroup, we were going to rearm, and we were going to be a little more strategic this time around. So here we have Nicandrios. If you've missed some of the episodes of History and Games before, you may not know that Nicandrios is a name that means victorious man in ancient Greek. The ancient Greeks had really cool names for themselves. So things like Themistocles, Glory of the Law, stuff like that was just really neat. So Nicandrios actually means victorious man. As you can see, everything looks like an ancient Greek urn called an amphora. You can see the citizens. And the art style is based on archaic Greek pottery. So the archaic period was about the 8th or 7th century BCE and went on till the mid-5th century BCE. And it just had a very interesting style. So as you can see, when Nicandrios moves, it's like he's kind of a pinwheel. Like his joints sort of have pins in them. So he kind of does this, where it's a little stiff, but he kind of moves up and down. That looks very much like archaic pottery. You can see to the left of him, that building has the Greek key, which is supposed, and it's gold, but it actually had a little bit of, I can't remember what it was. It was like steel or something in it, so that the key would never break and it could never be melted down, so that the key was actually eternal. And I still have that in a drawer, and I love that. I love the symbolism of eternity. I love what the Greek key represents. I thought that was really cool. So we're walking around here, and you can see in the background, you can see the, you probably had to learn this in either middle school or you had to learn it in high school, all the different columns that you see in ancient Greece. So you have the Ionic columns, you have Corinthian columns, you have Doric columns. These are Ionic, and you can tell because they're scrolls. I'm probably going to regret this. Yep, that was dumb. Alright, so I can't just jump off any platform.
We'll be back.
Alright. Now, if I were an idiot and I hit this, I would light myself on fire. We're not going to do that. So what I'm doing is I'm basically seeing if there's anything like a chest or a barrel that I can hit that will give me... Yeah, there we go. Got some free health. Excellent. Very, very good. Alright. So we're going to swagger this way. We're going to go to the House of Apollo. Maybe. If I'm smart. By the way, for fun, I brought along some Retsina. If you're not familiar with Retsina it's a pine resin wine that I've talked about before on this Twitch cast. There it is. This particular one is called Kortaki. And here's what it says. From selected grape varieties grown in the finest vineyards of Attica, shipped to 150 cities all over the world. Brokortaki S.A., a company dedicated since 1895 to maintaining the 5,000-year-old Greek winemaking tradition. I think that's pretty cool. All right. So, while I'm playing, I'm going to be drinking Retsina. And if you've never had Retsina, the best way I can describe it is this one is obviously a white wine. It has a bit of a bite to it. That's how I would describe it. Is it has a little bit of a bite to it. So I'm going to take a sip. And it's good. It's an acquired taste, but it's not like a super bad bitter or sour taste. It just has a little bit of a bite. And I don't think people expect that in a white wine. But I recommend it. Kortaki is very good. I had to special order it. I'm going to fiddle with my mic because I want to make sure you guys can hear me. The sound is really low on my microphone, or my headset, so. Oh, that's right. I need a key because I got to go get it. Duh. Oh, let's see. Back into here. Alright. So let's see, I've got some blast arrows, some javelins, some hatchets, and some stones. I meant to go get Hydra arrows. Hydra arrows are really, really useful, but I believe one of Apollo's guards actually is going to attack me with Hydra arrows. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to defeat him and get those Hydra arrows. And let's see, let's take a look at the map. Alright, so I am going the right way. I'm going to go take one of these guys on. Alright, there. We set him on fire. So that was good. Alright. So I'm going to open up the conversation to you guys, because there's a bunch of you watching, and I'm very curious to know what your favorite thing about ancient Greece is. Are you interested in the history? Are you interested in the mythology? Are you interested in the language and culture? The food? There's many wonderful things about ancient Greece that I think makes it very interesting to study. And so I would love to know. Look at this guy's swagger. Swagger's like a boss. But, that's not what I meant to do. I don't want to waste things on him. Go away. Oh man, he is just blocking everything. We're gonna have to do a better job here. There we go. Dagnabbit. That's my fault. Because I got lazy. Because I keep forgetting I have a darn shield. What? What? You can't see me? That's right. Freaking John Cena here. Can't see me. That guy could see me though. Stop it. That's not nice. I'll give enemies this. They're actually pretty smart in this game. They don't just stand there. There we go. Now my shield actually does something. Alright. I think the one no? There's a captain down here. I'd forgotten that. Xephos, Iron Club, Bronze Mace. Maybe. Let's try this. Up. There's some guy. There's some guy who wants to give me trouble. What, punk? Nothing. Oh, getting clever on me, huh? Ah, God, there's two of them. I did this all wrong. And the one guy's like, I'm out of here. Nope. I'm just gonna poke everyone and hope for the best. Go away. God, there's like 3 things now. This is garbage. Ah, and he also has a shield. Good on him. The heck is this? Alright. Problem is what it is. Alright. What is this guy doing? Oh, I see what he's doing. Okay. Go away. So, you'd think I would just do manual aim with my arrows, right? The problem is, manual aim is really unintuitive. Look at this. It's ridiculous. See? It's garbage. No! Ugh. It's a ladder fight! Ladder fights are the best fights. Get down here. I'll take that, dude. Ugh. Ah, this is not going well. So I need to get rid of that stupid machine. I'm not gonna do it. Ooh. Fire! Go faster! Oh. Alright, so I barely made it out of that alive because I'm terrible. Ah well, terribly lucky. Ha ha ha. That going forward, shall we? So by the way, this is really cool. What I'm wielding right now is a Cereza. And it's somewhat unwieldy, but this long infantry pike has incomparable reach and does about 30 damage, which isn't too shabby. We're gonna save that for later. I'm gonna pick up an arrow. Go away. Smashy, smashy. I love doing that. Alright. So, let's make sure to craft. And so there was something else. So I don't know if you guys... Oh, good, I've got some armor. So throughout the game, I will occasionally come across not just the gods, but mythical creatures. This is not a mythical creature. This is a very annoying what the heck ever it is. It's some sort of mechanism. And what's funny is that you think that that is sort of anachronistic, but there was a reference to a sort of metal robot in ancient Greek mythology, which tells you a lot about how advanced their culture was. So although we don't hear anything about, you know, mechanical crossbows per se in ancient Greece, what's kind of funny is that they did have some idea about automation, which I think is pretty cool. And another thing that I came across earlier, if you were watching me play the game, was mythical creatures like the Chimera. And I found something fun that I wanted to share with you. There's a couple references to the Chimera. So one is an actual reference to it in Hesiod. Sorry, I'm terrible at pronouncing things. And this is in the Working Days. So here's something for your reference. So Marzat93 says the politics within Rome are pretty interesting to study as well. Absolutely they are, which is why I'm anxious to start Rise, Son of Rome. But we're playing Apotheon right now, and I mentioned that earlier I was playing the Chimera, and I didn't get a chance when I was playing against the Chimera to read off this quote from the Theogony by Hesiod. But this is a really cool quote about the Chimera, because it's a very famous mythological creature. And it says, Hydra bore the Chimera who snorted raging fire, a beast great and terrible and strong and swift-footed. Her heads were 3. One was a glare-eyed lion. One head was of a goat, and the third of a snake, a powerful dragon. The Chimera was killed by Pegasus and gallant Bellerophon. And so it's kind of interesting that there's this crazy creature that snorts fire. Well, it turns out the Greeks weren't completely insane. It turns out they were basing it on something they had seen. And I was just rereading this book last night, and I love this. And it's called Traveling Heroes in the Epic Age of Homer. It's by Robin Lane Fox. Really encourage you pick this one up, because it's got really cool information on history-based Greek lore. And one of my favorite things, well, there are two things. One was all about a place called Monkey Island. If you're a gamer, you got to crack up about that. And it was an island that was somewhere off of Tunisia. But there's another chapter that's all about the chimera and where the idea for the chimera came from. And as it turns out, and I thought I had properly labeled it so I could go back to it and read you it, but the chimera was actually thought to be a place off the Lycian or the Cilician coast, so somewhere off the coast of Turkey. There was actually a mountain that had gases coming up either from the ground or from caves, and at night you could see the fire. Oh, here we go. So let me read a little bit about the chimera, the historical background of the chimera. Travelers by sea to Lycia in southern Asia and the Gulf of Antalya, and I apologize, I'm not very good at these pronunciations, then became aware of an extraordinary sight in the landscape. As they rounded Cape Gelidion, they saw the spectacle which has fascinated many sea travelers since, a conspicuous fire which burns in the mountains beyond the coast. This fire, the Turkish yanar, still burns from natural gases on the slopes of Lycia's Mount Olympus. In 1902, it was visited by D.G. Hogarth, subsequently the historical advisor to Lawrence of Arabia, who describes how tongues of flame, spirituous, colorless, well-nigh invisible in that white glare, were licking the mouth of a dozen vents. The largest vent opens almost beneath the main group of ruins, which has evidently been a church once, raised with the stones of some older building. A Greek inscription is encrusted in the blistered wall, and surely some pagan temple has stood here to the spirit of the fire. The Christian church had been built here as a counterweight to a pagan cult site. We now know from nearby inscriptions that it had been a sanctuary of Hephaestus, the god closely linked to fire, whose cult left a mark on many settlements in the surrounding region. He was exactly the god for these flames. The flames were invisible to Hogarth by daylight, but by night, as many precious sea travelers had attested, they are clearly visible to crews off the Lycian coast. In Semitic languages, the root of the word for fire was chimera, resembling the Greeks' word for their goat monster, chimera. The discovery may have enhanced their idea of a chimera's nature. So it always feels like the ancient Greeks had wild imaginations when it came to their mythological creatures, but in fact, they were basing it off things that they had seen and absolutely couldn't explain. And so I'm seeing some comments saying, it was based off volcanic activity and, natural fires, and absolutely it was. But of course, the ancient Greeks didn't know what the heck was causing all this natural phenomenon. So they started freaking out. And another book I wanted to show you real fast before I continue, I know you guys are waiting for me to continue with Apotheon. I love this book so much, I have to share it with you guys. It's all about paleontology in Greek and Roman times, and it's called The First Fossil Hunters. I want to show you guys this book. Again, this is annoying glare. But it's called The First Fossil Hunters. And you've actually probably seen there was a History Channel special on this as well. And so when the Greeks talk about, earlier I actually took on a Cyclops in Apotheon. And they think that the Cyclops may be based on a woolly mammoth skull. Because if you look at these woolly mammoth skulls, where the eyes are supposed to be, it looks like one giant hole. And to the ancient Greeks, who were sometimes tripping on these ancient mammal bones, they had no way to explain what the heck these things were. It was terrifying to them. So it looked like a giant man with one eye. And just for fun, here's a terrifying sight. This is a skeleton of a cave bear. So imagine you're an ancient Greek, you have no idea what the heck this thing is, but you come across this terrifying spectacle. See how enormous this thing is? This is an ancient cave bear. That looks like nightmare fuel. Look at that thing. It's ridiculous. What the heck is that? I'm going to have nightmares about it tonight. Why am I even showing you this? This is terrible on my part. But there are huge prehistoric bones that were often found by the ancient Greeks and sometimes buried. These bones were buried and worshipped as heroes, because what the heck could explain these massive bones? You know, they'd come across, Griffin may have been actually the skull of a triceratops, and, Cyclops may be the skull of a, woolly mammoth kind of thing. I mean, if you were an ancient Greek, you were trying to figure out what the heck these things were, and they were terrifying. I mean, where's that picture? Oh, here it is. Man and mammoth bone. An average ancient Greek male stood about 5 feet tall, and this was some of the bones that they found. Some of these bones were as big as a man who was about a little over 5 feet. I mean, good Lord, no wonder they had these wild tales about huge men and cyclops and chimeras and three-headed hellhounds and whatnot. I mean, good Lord. Man, bear, pig. It totally is. Oh my gosh. Alright, so anyway, I better go take care of some guards. I've got a blast arrow. We're gonna knock this thing. Guy gave me trouble last time. I hope I'm a little better this time around against him. I'm telling you, I didn't have... Went right over his head. Ugh. Oh, I lit him on fire. That was a... Auto-aim. Do your thing. Also, me. Strategy. Go. No, I don't want to kill that thing, although that helped. No. Destroy him. There we go. I like that comical sound. There we go. Right in the face. Yeah. Alright. There we go. Oh no. Boom. Yeah, that hurt you. That hurt you a lot. No, don't... Boom. Oh, this is where I have trouble. No! Alright. Damn it, I don't want to hatch it. Although... Whoa! Whew. Man, I thought I was gonna get bounced out of the game for a second. Good news, though. That guy's dead. So, we're doing better this round, huh? Still not very strategic, but kind of panicking here. Because I got an audience. And I want to do well. And I'm trying to talk about history. And I can't multitask. This thing is so cool. It just looks cool. It's unwieldy, but it's cool. Alright. There we go. I feel a little bit better. You see that motif with two lions attacking some sort of stag. This is actually a very Eastern motif, by the way. You see that a lot in ancient Persia. And there was a time in the 8th and 7th century that there was a lot of trade in the Mediterranean between the East and the West. And so the ancient Greeks were influenced by lots of different cultures, including Egyptian and cultures in the Levant as well as Persia, and vice versa. The ancient Greeks actually had their pottery go all over the Mediterranean. So you would find their pottery in the Levant, you'd find their pottery in Persia, you'd find it as far north as Britannia, which is basically the UK today. So there was a lot of ancient trading back in the day, and each culture would influence the other, which is really fun. Okay, sorry, didn't mean to swallow right into the microphone, but I want some more Retsina, because I think it's super fun. Let's see, I armed myself with so many books that I wanted to show you. Here's another book that is really, it's not expensive at all. It just has a price tag on it. Ooh, wait, it's $20. Oh, that's pretty expensive, but you can probably find it for much less on Amazon. But I got a book a couple years ago called Ancient Athens on 5 Drachmas a Day, Where to Eat, Drink, and Meet a Philosopher, Your Guide to the Cradle of Western Culture. It's a really cute idea. It's a book all about if you were an ancient Greek tourist and you were wandering around Athens, where would you go? What would you see? And it's got little interesting facts. So, for example, this game is a little bit obscene, right? Like, not because it's overtly sexual, but it is kind of violent. It seems to take its cues from the Iliad and the Odyssey. And I was thinking about the word obscene, and as it turns out, that has some Greek roots. So, according to this book, sex and murder are unsuitable for public viewing and happen off stage during Greek drama, obskena. So creating the later word obscene. That's where we get our word obscene from, because sex and murder are obscene, and we get our idea all the way back from the ancient Greeks. So when they were doing tragedy, when they were doing theater, there were certain things that you weren't supposed to see, and sex and murder were often not for public viewing, so they happen off screen. So that meant obskena, and that led to the word obscene, which I think is really interesting. Here's an interesting thing. We're playing a game that's supposed to take place on a large earthenware urn, and according to this book, sometimes large earthenware urns are carefully placed in the auditorium to modulate the sound waves when doing plays. That's really interesting. I just learned that. That is so fun. I love little facts like that. Don't you love books like this where you learn little things that are really granular that you can't learn in school? There's not enough time. There's not enough interest. But if you're a history lover, don't you love those little facts? Aren't those fun? Oh my gosh. I could go on and on and on and on. All right. Somebody's mentioning in the comments, they're mentioning Clash of the Titans. I love the original 80s Clash of the Titans. I saw like half to 2/3 of the new Clash of the Titans that came out a few years ago, and that movie is terrible. It's just no good. But the original 80s Clash of the Titans with the claymation, and is it Harry Hamill? Gosh, I can't remember the actor's name, but he was very pretty in that movie. And of course, you've got Sir Laurence Olivier's Zeus. Gosh, that's so much fun. I love that movie. And another movie I like about ancient Greece is Disney's Hercules. A lot of people didn't really like that movie. So I know a lot of my friends didn't like that movie as much as I did. But I liked Disney Hercules because it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it's just about a likable dude. So I really never quite understood what their initial problem was, but I liked that movie. Is that Liam O'Brien? Sorry, I'm trying to identify the voice actor. I'm just going to poke you. Oh, no, he got me back. That's not going to work. So, oh, but he's got Hydra Fangs. Love Hydra Fangs. So this guy was a problem last time, and I say he was a problem. Do your thing. Because I couldn't figure out how to beat him. I cannot remember for the life of me how I did it originally. It was so easy. No, don't do that. Darn it. So easy to beat him last time, and I can't reproduce whatever the heck I did. It was something super simple. I'm just overthinking this, really. And I gotta get rid of that sun thing. But auto-aim in this game is garbage! Oh, there it goes. As soon as I said that, of course that worked. No! Alright, I'm gonna try to light him on fire. I don't have any health left. That's garbage. Alright, I'm not gonna make it this round. But don't worry. I will do better next time. Ah, I took it right in the back of the head. That's very Iliad. by the way, here's my copy of the Iliad. There we go. It's by the same author who did the translation for the Aeneid and for the Odyssey. This is Robert Fagel. He's won all sorts of awards for his marvelous translations. I highly recommend this. And if you've ever read the Iliad, it's surprisingly violent. It's gruesomely violent, which is so odd because otherwise the poetry in it is so beautiful. I mean, it's all about Hector and his flashing bronze helmet and, so-and-so of the lovely tresses and white-armed Ira and, it's so poetic. And yet it's so violent at the same time. It's crazy. And it's amazing. And it's funny because when you read all about Achilles, you don't think Brad Pitt. You really, really don't. It's the last thing you think of. So, I'm going to pick up all this stuff. Alright. Oh good, I got a Nectar of Healing. Where the heck am I? Alright, thinking about that last captain. We got a lot of money too, so if we can't make it past this one guard, I'm going to go buy some more weapons and armor, because I really think I'm actually under-leveled a little bit, and that's my fault. I've been having so much fun sharing history with you. I haven't been paying much attention to my equipment and armor and weapons, and I gotta fix that. What? Oh, I missed you completely. Go away! Pin him to the walls. The physics in this game, as I've mentioned before, are totally ridiculous. Like, seriously, what am I doing? Oh, that hurt. Oh, that hurt, dude. I'm so sorry. Alright, nothing sucks more than a hatchet to the face. Go on, launch your arrow. Oh, you poop. You jumped. Alright. Hey, speaking of cave bears, look what's behind me. Scary! Alright. So I'm being asked, have I listened to the History of Rome podcast? No, but I will now. That sounds awesome. Ah, finally, I gotta climb up here. That was my problem, I should have done that before. So we've got a, like, what is this tiny ass shield? I don't like that. Nectar of Healing, Statuette, Dittany of Crete. Let's make sure we craft enough stuff. That was the other thing too, is I forgot to craft. Garbage. I want that food. Alright, Greek Fire, Blast Mine, Nectar of Healing. I only have 3, so that's kind of garbage. And I don't know about these Olympian darts. The cool thing about darts, though, is I can still use my shield. I'm telling you, that's Liam O'Brien's voice. Probably totally wrong about that, but I swear I recognize that voice actor. So, nothing's getting this guy, which is kind of garbage. If I light him on fire. Nope, that didn't work either. I'm pretty sure at this point, I've got to get rid of that sun healing thing. Don't go that way. And manual aim is garbage, because it just is. Ah, my god! How did I do this last time? So garbage. Yeah. Alright, that's not gonna work. Stop it! Oh my god. What the hell did I do last time? It has something to do with that sun thing, but I can't... The problem is I'm not able to manually get it to do the thing that I want it to do. There it goes. knew it was that sun thing. God. This is gonna be close. Nope, I'm not gonna win this time either. Son of a bitch, it's totally my fault. Pardon my language. Alright, so if I can just stay away for a second, I can gain a little bit. Nope. Ah! Bastard! Alright. What the hell? Where's my shield? What the hell happened to my shield? Oh my god, my shield is gone. Ugh, this guy is just not gonna go down without a fight. You know what'd be awesome? If I had the Nemesis system, like Shadow of Mordor, and I could just recruit this guy. If I could just force him to do whatever the heck I wanted him to do. Wouldn't that be awesome if I could recruit this guy? Oh man. So Shadow of Mordor, that and Dragon Age Inquisition was my game of the year, 2014. No joke. Games are so freaking good. Love those games. Thanks, statue. Garbage! Stop it! Stop hiding. There. Ugh. Man. Like the guy was bleeding out under me for like the longest time too. Oof. Did I mention this game is gruesome? Because it's clearly based on the Iliad that way. Get up there, dork. Come on, Dorcas. How did I do this last time? I like did some weird double jump. Alright. Nope, I'm not gonna do that. Now I mentioned this before, but going through inventory is really frustrating because it's not like a one-button thing where you just keep pressing square or X until you get to where you want. You actually have to just kind of go up and down. It's annoying. And sometimes when you try and go up and down, you accidentally hit left or right. And then you'll do something dumb, like arm yourself with something you didn't want to. And it's garbage. And it makes making grumpy. It's dumb. So dumb. Farmer's Fork, I don't want. Guess we'll do this. It's just really tricky. I gotta get that sun thing.
Apollo, radiant son of thundering Zeus, bring fire to my arrows to pierce any shield.
Alright. I like how I was just standing there like, hey, so what you doing? What you doing at the courthouse? Ah! I need to get to this. No! I need to get to this thing. There we go. Ha ha ha. Oh, good. Good. I'm so glad this went well. No! My guy was... Oh, man. Did you see my guy just run into that building? Okay, that was actually kind of worth it. That was amazing. I'm glad I got that on video. My guy arched into the air and smacked into a wall. If nothing else, I'm experiencing humorous deaths in this game, so I hope it's at least entertaining for you. Ugh. I swear I did not struggle against this guy the first time I played this game. It's just hilarious that I cannot get past him this time. But if nothing else, I'm kind of enjoying this, because I'm finding humorous ways to die. To die and to kill people. Ah! On guard. Do something, dude. Blast mines do they do anything? No, because this guy has to come over here. Go ahead. There you go. Out of my face, jerk. Alright. Dun 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 dun. So have any of you guys played Apotheon? What do you guys think of this game? I'm curious. Full disclosure, I reviewed this game for IGN, because of course I work there. And I gave it a 6.0 9. And I know that a lot of people got angry about that. But the truth was, as much as I wanted to love this game, I love the art, I love the mythology, I love this story. Well, actually, I take that back. There wasn't much of a story, so there wasn't much to love in that case. But this is a game that if it could get the platforming down and the inventory just a little more polished, I'd really love this game. But I had to be kind of hard on it because I feel like Alien Trap was really close. But a good game has to be a good game first, and an action platformer needs to work. And there are parts of this game where the platforming is unbelievably frustrating, and that's not okay. It's not frustrating like, oh, it's supposed to be difficult, of course. No, this was, my character's missing platforms he shouldn't be missing, and toggling through inventory in a way that, quite frankly, is not efficient. But I'm curious to know what you guys thought, because maybe you really love this game, and that's okay. Do share with your fellow Twitchcast viewers if you enjoyed the game, what you think of it. While you do so, I'm going to take a sip of Retsina. Okay. Here we go. And it's funny that some people, the funny thing that I didn't complain about that other people did was the animation style. And like I said, this feels like exactly how black figure characters on Greek Amphora would actually move, because they sort of have these pinwheel joints. So when you see pictures of them, let me see if I can find, I have so many books on ancient Greece by my feet, but I didn't mark any down with an actual picture. I have a huge coffee table book all about Greek pottery behind me, but I don't want to get up right now. Oh, this one doesn't have any pictures. But anyway, you can actually see in Greek pottery. Oh, I'll just show you. You know what? Duh. I'll just show you the front of this. This is called Greek Religion. It's by Walter Burkert, and it's all about the worshiping practices of the ancient Greeks. Now, you can't see it very well. I'm sorry, because of the camera. But you can see these archaic figures, and they're in the middle of a religious ritual. And you can see that they're sort of moving lifelike, but they're a little bit stiff. And that's sort of that what I call the pinwheel joint effect, where their movements, you can see that they're moving, but it's a little bit stiff. And so this is kind of what Apotheon is basing its art and style on. And that's okay. That's what it's supposed to do. So as you can see, if this looks very much like Apotheon, it's because Alien Trap did do their research. And they did things in the ancient Greek style. That's a lot of fun. Let's see. What book is this? Oh, here's an even better example. On the cover of the first Fossil Hunters, same thing. And you can actually see on this Greek pottery, you can see a skull. And this looks like an ancient skull that they actually found in Greece. And I'm sorry, there's a little bit of glare. But you can see that beautiful coral red. You can see the figures are moving, but again, it's a little bit stiff. And you can see this creepy skull. Look at that thing. And that was probably a real mammal skull or dinosaur skull that the Greeks stumbled across, because there are a lot of ancient bones in and around Europe, and the ancient Greeks would stumble upon them and be like, what the heck is this freakish thing? Well, it's your worst nightmare if it were, still alive, but lucky them it wasn't. So they got to make up all sorts of stories about it. In fact, here is a picture of a large fossil femur found in the ruins of the Temple of Ira in Samos, Greece. So the bone relic was placed in the temple in the 7th century BCE or earlier. So the ancient Greeks, all they knew is that this was the bones of something huge, and they would imagine it was like a hero or some sort of crazy creature, and so they would put them in temples. Look at that. Look how huge that is. That's ridiculous. I understand why the ancient Greeks would have these stories about these huge monsters and these all-powerful beings. Because again, oh my gosh, sorry, I know I'm rambling, but you gotta see this. This is a bipedal mammoth monster and a human skeleton. So it's a mammoth skeleton, but the ancient Greeks didn't know. So instead of being a woolly mammoth on 4 legs, they thought maybe this thing was a 2-legged giant. So can you imagine a woolly mammoth standing on its 2 legs instead of 4? This is what it would look like. So on the one side you see a human skeleton, and on the other side you see what a woolly mammoth would look like if it could stand on its hind legs and walk around. Nightmare fuel. Isn't it terrifying? And of course, this is what it looks like. It's already pretty darn big on 4 legs. But imagine if you thought this thing could get up and walk like a man. Yeah, you start to understand where these giants and crazy things come from. So I thought that was a fun book to share with you tonight, because we're going up against all sorts of crazy stuff. I think I'm going to probably once again have to retreat. I need the right types of arrows. So I was really close last time to defeating Apollo's one guard. The truth is, I'm just... A Doros? I do have a Doros. Okay. I might use this. Get rid of this. Probably for me, but whatever.
Apollo, radiant son of thundering Zeus, bring fire to my arrows to pierce any shield.
Trying to get rid of this thing. There it goes. It's gonna poke you a lot. Oh, I'm on fire. That would be the problem. It's like, what is draining my energy? Well, for starters, I'm on fire. No, I'm out of nectar healing again. Oh, hold on. All right. Can we craft? Oh, we can. Oh, fabulous. No, don't do that. Did I get him? Oh, I got him. And I probably didn't deserve... Ooh, look, you guys. Wall of Ajax. Named after the indomitable son of Telamon, this massive tower shield protects and inspires any who take refuge behind it. Oh, I was just reading something on Ajax last night, and it was all about... I mean, everyone relied on the Greek side in the Trojan War. Everyone relied on Ajax. He was this monster of a man. He was really tall, really strong, really powerful, and his shield was described sort of being like a giant wall that everyone could hide behind and everyone could defend themselves with. And I don't know if I'll be able to find the quote because I didn't mark it, but it was a really cool quote on Ajax. And this was just, and there was a big Ajax and a little Ajax. So I find that is just kind of crazy. Oh, here we go. He was called Lion-Hearted Ajax. And that's really cool. And everyone had an amazing epitaph. So, like, Menelaus was, like, the Lord of the War Cry. Isn't that cool? Lord of the War Cry. I don't know what my epitaph would be. I mean, not like to be macabre and be like I'm dead, but just, like, what title I would have. Like, you know, Celtic Queen sounds great and all, but what does that mean? Whereas, you know, I'm like Terror of Armies or something. That would be amazing. Anyway, so we've now got the Wall of Ajax. So we've got this really cool shield that's going to hopefully protect us when we take on Apollo. So that's our next goal, is find the lyre or lyra of Apollo, which is very symbolic and emblematic of Apollo, who invented that musical instrument, and he was a god of like poetry and music, and basically in a way he was a god of enlightenment. Last time we talked about the difference between him and Helios, Helios being the literal personification of the sun, but Apollo is often called the god of light, and that sometimes confuses people. But my own interpretation is Apollo is a god of enlightenment. He's all about knowledge and culture and whatnot. And Helios is the actual personification of the sun. And the Rhodians sure loved him, so the island of Rhodes, of course, built the Colossus of Rhodes, which was a huge statue of Helios. And to put it in a gaming context, you would know that statue from God of War 2 at the... Whoop. Alright, what's happening here? No.